better. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca, and today I'll be showing you how I made this really cute black simple tube top. So if you want to find out how I made it, really simple tutorial, then make sure you keep on watching. So the first thing you want to do is lay your fabric together, right sides facing. I'm using an old midi skirt to make this, so the right sides are already facing or laid together, as you can see. Then what I'm going to do is fold my fabric in half. Next, from the folded side of the fabric, I'm going to measure out the upper bust circumference divided by 4. So I've measured my upper bust circumference divided by 4. I'm not adding seam allowance for this because I want it to be a tight fit. And just as a gauge, I'm using jersey knit fabric as well, so you can kind of gauge how much seam allowance you need to add or whether you can leave it out entirely. So like I said, I'm marking that out, so my upper bust circumference divided by 4, and that's going to be the first line that we measure out. The second line that we measure out is, so from the upper bust point, I'm measuring down to how long I want my tube top to be. So for this measurement, I am adding seam allowance, so bear that in mind, and I'm adding 1 inch in total. So half an inch for the top and half an inch for the bottom. Next, I'm measuring out my waist measurement, again divided by 4 without seam allowance, and I'm just going to mark that as well. And it's typically a case where the upper bust line that you've drawn, you'll draw a straight line down, connecting to your waist measurement, and then you'll cut along that line. Now I'm cutting along the 3 lines that we've just drawn, so you'll have kind of like a perpendicular shape that you're working with once you've cut out the pattern pieces. I'll put my measurements on the screen, so if you want to use them as a guide, you can. I'm a size 6, so these are the measurements that I've used for that, and I also have a short torso as well. Okay, so once you have cut along those 3 sides, this is what you should be looking at, and I have opened up the fabric, and again it is facing each other, right sides facing, and then I'm going to start by pinning the sides on both ends, and that's what we're going to stitch first. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin down on each side first, and then I'm going to grab my sewing machine and stitch down across those lines. Again, I haven't added seam allowance to this tube top because the fabric is stretchy, so bear that in mind when you're following this tutorial as well. Likely if you're using stretchy fabric, you won't need seam allowance. So I'm using a zigzag stitch to sew the sides. Another thing to note is I'm using a stretch machine needle as well as polyester thread, which is better suited for sewing stretchy clothes. So if you want to get the best results, I'd recommend using a needle that is suitable for stretchy fabric as well as a thread that is suitable as well. Once you've sewn down those 2 sides, you're literally halfway there. This is such an easy tutorial. So what I'm going to do is flip the tube top right side out, and then what I'm going to do is fold the hem. So I'm folding the top and folding the bottom by ½ an inch, and I'm just going to pin that all the way across, one for the top and then for the bottom as well. To hem the tube top, I'm going to use a twin needle to sew this last stitch, or the hemming stitch. So this is basically a needle that you can get from pretty much any sewing supply store. I'm going to show it on the screen, and what you do is you use 2 threads that you just thread in normally through the top, and then you push 1 thread through one of the needles and the other thread through the other needle, and then you'll stitch that on a straight stitch on your sewing machine. Please remember to make sure that the setting of your sewing machine is set to a straight normal stitch and not a zigzag stitch. If you leave it as zigzag stitch with this needle, you will break your needle. I've done it way too many times, and I don't want you guys to have the same problem. Once it's all threaded and good to go, I'm just going to use a bit of scrap fabric to test the stitch to see how it comes out, and I'm going to grab my tube top and hem around the top. So I'm using the 1/2 inch mark on my sewing machine because that's what we use as a seam allowance, and I'm stitching all the way around for the top and all the way around for the bottom. By using the stitch and the twin needle, it's going to give you a really neat hem, and also almost like a serged hem, so you won't be able to see any raw edges. So it's a really nice way to kind of finish off your stretch projects or sewing projects. Once you've hemmed the top and the bottom, you're literally all done. This is such an easy, quick, simple tutorial, perfect for summer. If you did enjoy this tutorial, make sure to leave a like and a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. If you're looking for more summer DIY tutorials, make sure you check out these 2 videos as well.